All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the webinar. Can everyone hear me all right? Sorry, this is I'm first time using this platform, so still trying to figure everything out here. Okay. Can you hear me? Can somebody post in the chat yes or no? Yeah, okay, good. All right, so looks like we can hear me. So welcome to the webinar. So this is HTML emails made easy from Drupal. So in this webinar, I am going to demonstrate how to use the easy email module to send HTML formatted emails simply from your Drupal website. So first, before I begin, just to introduce myself, most of you on this call already know me because you've taken a course with me or something before. But my name is Wayne Aker. I'm an independent Drupal developer and trainer. I have sort of two businesses. I offer consulting and development work through my business Ingenuity. And then the way that most people probably on this call know me is I also run Drupal Tutor, where I offer training courses for developers or Drupal users at any level. So if you're interested in Drupal training, please take a look at drupaltutor.com. You can see the courses that I have available there that you can just sign up and take right away, as well as if you're interested in private courses or course packages for your team, I can also put those together for you as well. All right, enough advertising. Let's get on to the meat of the webinar. So as I said, in this webinar, I am going to demonstrate easy email. In the interest of time, I have pre-recorded the sort of presentation and the walkthrough, the demo part of this. That way I can, because I'm running this webinar by myself. And so that way I can start the video and then I'll be in the chat. So I'm going to be monitoring for your questions. If you have questions, put them in the chat. If the questions seem urgent, like people are very confused, then I may pause the video and jump back in here live and sort of clear up any confusion if there is something like that. But otherwise, the plan will be go through the video, go through the demo, and then I'm going to jump back on here live. And I've got the demo environment and everything set up here, ready to go. So I can work through any of your questions, or if you want to see something else that I didn't cover in the main part of the walkthrough, then we can play around with that. So the video is about 40 minutes long. So we'll go through that main part, and then we should have plenty of time to jump on and have some questions after that. Okay, so with that, I am going to start the video. So let's see. Oh, that's the wrong one. Hello, and welcome to HTML emails from Drupal Made Easy. This is a presentation of how to use the Easy Email module for Drupal. My name is Wayne Aker. I'm the trainer and developer of drupaltutor.com. Okay, so what we're going to cover today, we're just going to focus on setting up Easy Email. I had hoped to give you a more comprehensive overview of modules that you might use for sending HTML emails and what the alternatives are. However, after I sort of set up the presentation and recorded it, I realized there's just not enough time. So instead, what we're going to cover, we're going to focus strictly on Easy Email, and we're going to focus on installing and configuring it, overriding existing email templates, theming a tiny bit about how to theme emails, like if you want to add custom CSS and other styling to them. And then I'm going to show you an example of using Easy Email with the ECA module, which I'll tell you about later in the presentation, which allows you to, it's like a no-code builder tool for Drupal that allows you to send emails based on certain actions that happen on your site, like new content being created and stuff like that. Now, if you do want a more comprehensive overview of the general situation with HTML or nicely formatted emails from Drupal, I'm going to point you to the Talking Drupal podcast, number 437. I was a guest on that podcast, and we talked for about an hour about email in general on Drupal. And so if you listen to that, then you'll get sort of just the basics of other options you might think about for creating emails from Drupal. All right, the modules we're going to use in this demo, of course, we're going to use Easy Email. I will be using Symphony Mailer Lite, which is a module that I maintain, which is like a sort of a bare minimum implementation that gets the Symphony Mailer library integrated with Drupal. There is an alternative to that called the Symphony Mailer module. The Symphony Mailer module also integrates the Symphony Mailer library with Drupal, but it provides additional APIs and templates, which are somewhat redundant to Easy Email. Now, Easy Email can work with Symphony Mailer module or Symphony Mailer Lite, but like I said, there's some redundancy if you use Easy Email and Symphony Mailer together. So that's why I'm just going to stick with Symphony Mailer Lite in this particular demo. And then, of course, like I said, we're going to look at the ECA module as well. All right, with that out of the way, let's get to the demo. All right, so here we have a freshly installed Drupal 10.2 website. I've done really nothing to it other than set it up. One thing I do want to mention before we move on is that I'm going to be doing this demo in the Drupal Tutor Dev Stack. This is an online development environment that I have created for Drupal Tutor students. When you're taking a course with me at drupaltutor.com, you can use one of these environments so you don't have to install anything on your own computer. The main thing I want to point out is, though it may look unfamiliar to you if you haven't taken a course with me, there's nothing special here. There's no secret magic involved. This is pretty much a standard Linux dev stack. So everything that you're going to be seeing me do here should be possible in DDev or any other environment. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is we need to install Easy Email module as well as Symphony Mailer Lite. So these two modules, obviously Easy Email is what we're going to focus on, but remember Easy Email doesn't have the ability to handle those lower levels of transport for HTML emails. So we're also going to install Symphony Mailer Lite to do that. So we do it the same way as you install any other module. So you can copy the Composer command. This is set up with Composer. So let me go into the command line terminal. And paste that command to install Symphony Mailer Lite. And while that's installing, let's go copy the Easy Email one. All right, now that that's done, let's go here and enable these modules. So we need Symphony Mailer Lite, and we'll just install Easy Email first. We'll come back and do overrides in a bit. Okay, we can't do these at the same time because Easy Email requires one of the modules or one of the mailer modules. So Symphony Mailer Lite just installed. Let's install Easy Email now. It should work. Okay, so Easy Email is installed, and this also installed Mail System. For those of you who might be familiar with Mail System allows you to tell Drupal which lower level sort of transport modules you want to use for different emails that get sent from your system. So Easy Email and Symphony Mailer Lite both set these by default in a smart way. So you can see that by default, it's already configured for anything that's being sent by either of these two modules to use Symphony Mailer Lite. So we don't have to do anything here. I just wanted to point out for those of you who are familiar with Mail System that we don't have to do anything. It's already done. Email templates for Easy Email are defined under Structure Email Templates. And any email that you want to send with Easy Email is required to have a template. So let's just create a simple test template to get started. So I'll click to add an email template, and we'll type testing here. Now, these email templates are configuration entities, so this looks a lot like if you're creating a new content type or something like that. And so let's go through the fields here on this form. So this form is designed to look kind of like an email sending form. Has the same, like if you had Apple Mail or like a compose email form. That's what it's designed to look like. So if we look down here, you can see you can have things like the to fields. So let's just, for this testing one, let's just hard code that in to wayne@example.com. I skipped this unique key pattern. This unique key pattern, I'm not going to go into this feature in this webinar. I don't have enough time to demo it, but if you have emails that you want to be really sure you never send duplicates of, this will allow you a way to prevent duplicates from being sent. All right, so moving on. So we have recipients. You can, your to, CC, BCC. You can customize the sender, from name, from address. You don't have to fill these in. It'll take the ones from the system, like the site name and the site address, if you leave them blank. So we can just leave them blank for now. Let's just fill in, this is a test as the subject. And then we can fill in the body here. This is a test from Easy Email. And let's make this is the HTML body. So let's give it some HTML here. Let's bold that and let's make it a link. We can have it linked to maybe the Easy Email project page on Drupal.org. All right, so there is our email. We could set a plain text body or tell it to generate a plain text body if we wanted. I'm going to skip that for now. We'll just leave the HTML. And if we come down here, we have the inbox preview. Now, this is a feature like when you've probably seen this before if you've used MailChimp, but basically there's a way to put some hidden text that ends up showing up in people's inbox. It's like the little the first parts of the text that show up there in people's inbox, like in Gmail. And so you can customize that text as being different from the text that's actually in the email. And so Easy Email allows you to fill that in. We'll skip it for this one. I'll fill it in another one here in a few minutes. You can also do attachments with Easy Email. I'm not going to have time in this webinar to demo that, but there is a way to do attachments on emails if you want. And then for email storage, so for any email template, you can decide whether you want emails that are sent of that template, if you want them to be saved in the system by default. So that is the default here, but if you didn't want emails to be saved, then you could turn this off and they could be sent, but they just wouldn't show up in the email log. You can also decide if you want to allow them to optionally be saved or if they're automatically saved by default. You can also choose to delete emails of this particular type after a certain number of days. So let's say you're saving them all because you want to be able to sort of audit or debug if there's any issues with email sending. You can do that, but then delete emails after 30 days or 365 days, whatever makes sense for the volume of emails that you're sending. This way your database doesn't fill up with thousands and thousands and thousands of emails. So this will just sort of truncate them after a while. All right, so let's save that. And now let's send a test email. So we can do that under reports, because the email log this listing is usually, it's kind of a log of all of the emails that are sent, but you can also create a new email here. So you can see when I click create a new email, it automatically jumped to testing because that's the only type that we have right now. So I jumped here and we have the option to customize anything about this that we want. I'm not going to customize anything. I'm just going to scroll to the bottom and notice that send email is checked. And then I'm going to click save. All right. And if I go over, so emails on this dev stack are not actually sent out. They get captured in MailPit, which is a program that runs on the dev stack. So we can view them right here. So here is the test email that was sent. And so we can see it's got our custom text in it. And if I click, you see I have working links. Here's the HTML source for that. Now, I think it probably did, yes. This actually created some plain text, even though I told it not to do that. The reason it did that, I'll just show you real quick, is under the configuration for Drupal Symfony Mailer Lite. If you go to message settings, it also has a feature that can automatically generate plain text. So if I really didn't want that, I should turn it off here as well, because it was this plain text generation option that resulted in this. But yeah, otherwise, email's working. Okay, so let's make this a little more complex. Let's try using the user reference field, the recipient's user reference field. So we'll go back to structure, email templates. We'll edit this template and let's take out the hard-coded recipient. And then let's save that. So now anytime we send it, we are going to have to specify a recipient. So let's go back over here. I'll just open this in a new tab. Let's create a new email. And we'll leave the 2 blank, but you notice there's a section up here for recipients. This allows you to send it to users who are already on your system. So I created a user earlier before the video recording that for Jane. So I'll send this to her and I'll click save. And if I go back and look at the list, you see that it's being sent to Jane at example.com, which is the email address I set up on that user account. And if I go back over here, we can see that this email is now sent to Jane. Using the recipient's user reference field opens up some more options for us back in designing our templates. So let's go, it allows us to use tokens specifically. So let's go back to testing and click edit template. And then let's scroll down here and let's add hello. And then we want to say hello and then the person's username because we're going to use a user account. So if we leave our cursor here and scroll down, there is a token browser. So here under email, we can find its recipient user ID. And actually, okay, for some reason it's showing the machine names here, which is not usual. Let me just go clear caches real quick. Okay, and then let's reopen the token browser. Yeah, okay, here's the labels. That's what it normally shows. So under email, let's go down here. There should be recipients, okay? And then recipient UID is the machine name of that. So we'll assume we're going to only have one recipient. So if we go to that user account, so Delta 0, that's the first one, and then the user entity, and then we want their display name. So, okay, so I clicked that, and then it inserted that display name token right in here. So let's save this. And now that we have that token in the email template, we can check out a feature preview template that's built in here to Easy Email. So with preview template, you can fill out the fields for a template and then preview what it would look like. So in this case, let's say, what would it look like if the recipient was Jane? So then we click preview. And then down here, we can see in the HTML body, you see it says, hello, Jane. So it automatically evaluates our token and we can preview what that's going to look like. Now, this is a very simplistic example. You could do a lot more here. The tokens give you access to sort of any other values that are on that user account or other fields. All right, and so that's what you do. You just basically build up a template for any type of email that you want to send from the system, and you can use different tokens to make them sort of configurable to fill in dynamic values at the time that they are sent. And those tokens work sort of everywhere. They work in, the subject, the body, any of these fields, the tokens can work in. Okay, now sending the emails manually, like we did over here under reports, I mean, that was kind of nice, but that's not really the main use case. Usually you want emails from your website to be sent automatically in response to some sort of event or trigger in the system. And you can do that with Easy Email as well. So let's start by sort of replacing an email that already exists in Drupal. So we'll use the password reset email. So there's already something that triggers that, right? It's if you use the form. And so we want to, instead of having that normal plain text one that you get, we want to override it with our own custom HTML formatted version. So let's do that. First, we need to create a template for this email. So we'll add a new email template. I'll call it password reset. And then we need to come down here and fill in some values. Now we can leave the 2 empty because we're going to be giving it a user account, right? I mean, you can't password reset unless you have an account. So there will always be a user account, and we'll do that same thing we did before where we assign a user to the recipient's user reference field. So, but let's fill in the subject here. And so I've got some things that I've already written out. So I'm just going to copy and paste them in here to make them a little more, let's make sure we can tell the difference between this and the standard one. I've made it a little more familiar than usual. So, okay, so here we have, again, oh no, and then we're going to use that same token for your display name. We heard you forgot your password. Here's a picture of us all alone without you. Now, this is one feature is we can upload images. So this is an image of a sad Drupalcon. I asked ChatGPT to draw a sad Drupalcon, and this is what it gave me. Now this guy's he's crying a little more vigorously than I anticipated, but it's still pretty good, I think. So, all right, so we can have this image in here, and then let me paste in. I've got some more text here. Okay, so let's reset your passwords. We can be together again. Click here to get back into the site and set your password. So with this, we want to be a link. And the link URL here is, there is a token for that. So let's go get the token. So under email, recipients, we'll go down to that first recipient. And then if we scroll down here, one-time login URL. So let's just copy that. I'm not sure if clicking it will work because of the way this little pop-up works. So I'll just copy that, and I'm going to paste the token in here. All right, so I think that should be good. Oh, let's just to test it out, let's try out the inbox preview. Okay. And we'll save this. Now, if we want to preview this, we can fill in the user Jane and hit preview. And now we can see, here's sort of the inbox preview. We can see that text. And these have all been designed so that you can kind of resize them to get a sense of what it might look on mobile. All right. So we haven't done a lot of formatting, so the mobile's not particularly great or anything, but that's what that's there for. So we can see this is here. This looks good. Now the password reset email won't actually fill in. That is unique to the password reset email because it's a security issue. It will get sent when we really send an email, but it won't give you a real one here for the preview. Other tokens work normally. All right, so let's just send one to make sure this works. So let's go over to emails, create a new email, password reset, and we'll set the recipient to Jane again. And we'll leave everything. We won't customize anything, and we'll click save. Now, if I come back over here to the emails, here is our email. And we can see the token has been evaluated here. Oh no, Jane. We have our picture, which if we look here in the text it's already been set. So it's got a full absolute URL. So it's not attached to the email, but it is, if somebody loads remote images, it will display. All right. And if I hover over this, we can see, well, it's really tiny at the bottom, but if I copy this link address and go up here to the top, You can see that this is a real full password reset. It won't work here because I'm logged in as the wrong user, but it is working. And I have this nice formatted message for the password reset. Now that works if I send it manually like that, but let's go over here. This is an incognito window. Let's actually try to send this from the real reset password. So I've just tried to reset Jane's password. This is I'm not logged in over here. And now when we come back here, we see we get the standard thing, okay? Which of course makes us feel like this guy. Okay, so that should be obvious. We haven't really, I mean, we created a template, but we didn't tell Drupal at all that it should use that template for the password reset email. The fact that it is that is only known to us. Drupal's not reading the text of it. So we need to do that. And the way we do that is with an add-on module for Easy Email called Easy Email Overrides. So it comes with Easy Email. You just need to enable it. And then let's go back to email templates. And there's a new overrides tab here. So we'll click on overrides, and you can call it anything you want. This override, I'm just going to call password reset. It doesn't have to match the template name. And then you have to choose the email to override. So here these are the emails that Easy Email already knows about. These are basically the ones that are built into Drupal core. If you install Easy Email Commerce, which is a submodule of Easy Email, it can also do the Drupal Commerce order receipt. Otherwise, you may have to write a small amount of code. It's actually just a YAML file to declare in a custom module in order to declare any other emails that you want to override in the system. Or perhaps you could, if there's certain modules that you use that send emails from them, then perhaps you could suggest that those modules implement the YAML file so that they integrate with Easy Email. But Easy Email out of the box knows how to handle any of the built-in Drupal core account emails. So we'll choose password recovery. That's what we want to override. And then the Easy Email template we want to use is password reset. And then down here, we have to do parameter mapping. So after you load this up, one of the things you have to declare in that YAML file that I was talking about is you have to declare how the parameters sort of map over from the existing system over into Easy Email. So in this case, a password reset email has an account variable in it, and that needs to be mapped over to the recipients field. Because remember, we use the recipients field for the tokens in there, and so we want that all to map over. So basically the account object's going to get copied to the recipients field. All right, so now once we've done that, if we go back over here and let's do another password reset for Jane. Come back over and look at our emails. Okay, we see that we have this next one here, and now it's using the correct email. All right, it's using the correct email template. It's using our one from Easy Email. And again, we have a proper one-time login link as well as our image, and everything's filled in. Okay, so this is basically working. I mean, we've got full HTML access here. We can make really nice emails. Now, one thing you might be asking now is, okay, this is nice. I mean, it's formatted, but like I want this link to look like a button. We have our brand colors. We want to really style the email. Now, I'm not going to be able to get into exactly how to do that fully in this webinar. We just don't have time, but I am going to quickly show you. I'm going to point you in the right direction for how to do that. So if we go, you have to go into the code in order to do that. So let me pull up the code for Easy Email in order to show you something. So inside of the Easy Email module, there are 3 templates that you may want to override in order to customize some of the HTML and CSS that is used in your emails. So here under the easy email module and their templates, there is the body HTML. So this is basically, this is what is used in the HTML body. And so you can see it's just basically a very simple wrapping div with the body text in it. But if you wanted to have like a custom header and a custom footer that you had on all your emails, you could do that. You could also attach CSS to this template. So if you have your brand colors and all that, you could, again, you need to know how to do Twig and how to do CSS libraries in order to achieve that. But all of that stuff will work here. So you would just override this template like you would any other in your theme, and then you could customize the look of the email. And so there's two others here that you can also customize. There's the inbox preview. So you can see this is some weird stuff that I found somewhere, which is how you do these. Basically, it prints out the body in a hidden section. This body here, this is going to be just the inbox preview body. And then it has a bunch of spacing. There's a bunch of spaces so that it pushes any other part of the body out of the inbox preview area. But if you needed to override that, you could do it. And then here is the body plain. So this is where the plain text body would go. So if you wanted to have, again, that header and footer for the plain text body, you could do that. There is also one other template you may need to override, which is if you're using Symphony Mailer Lite, there is a template, Symphony Mailer Lite email. This is a wrapper around, this is sort of the most outer wrapper that gets added by Symphony Mailer Lite. So in here where you see body, that's where the email body from Easy Email is going to go. So if you need to customize any of this part, then you would probably need to override this template as well. And again, you can attach any libraries that you want for CSS, and Symphony Mailer Lite will actually, it will inline that CSS. So you don't have to do that manually, though you could. I mean, you could put like a style tag in here and put your CSS in here if you wanted to. Okay, so again, I'm not going to get into any more of the code, but that's how you could do it if you want to customize and improve the look of those HTML emails. All right, so coming back, there is one more thing that I want to show you, which is I want to show you, so far we've seen how you can send emails manually. You can send emails that are already known by the system, such as password reset emails. But what if you have sort of arbitrary emails, other emails that are part of your business logic, but are not, that Drupal doesn't know anything about because it's part of your specific business case. So for that use case, there's a module called ECA, Event Conditions Actions, and the ECA module allows you to define processes through the user interface so that when certain events happen, you can trigger other things to occur. And you can send easy emails using ECA. And so I want to show you a really simple example of that. We're not going to be able to go into detail on ECA module. It's really complex. And I mean, we're not even going to scratch the surface. Frankly, we're not even going to look at the surface because it's just like too awesome and beautiful for us to fully comprehend. Like if we tried to dig into it, our faces would melt off like Raiders of the Lost Ark. It is an amazing, amazing module. And if you haven't tried it, I highly, highly recommend that you do so. All I'm going to be able to show you is the bare minimum of let's send an email in response to an action in ECA. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to install the module. So we need to install ECA, and then we also need to install this bpmin.io module, which will give us an interface for building out the templates. Building out the processes. So let's go back to our terminal, and I'm just going to paste this in. I already had this off in another window. So I'm just going to require ECA and bpmin.io. All right, and then we need to enable these modules. Now, the ECA comes with a ton of submodules. We don't need them all for this demo. But again, I encourage you, when you have time, to check out ECA and all it has to offer. So the ones that we need are BPMN, we need ECA base, ECA BPMN, we need ECA content. ECA content allows us to respond to events that occur with nodes. And so the example I'm going to show you is when a new article is created, send an email to like an admin, like a notification. Okay, so we'll need ECA content for that because it's a node. We need ECA core, and then we need ECA UI because we're going to build the process here through the user interface. Okay, so we'll install those. And the configuration for ECA is under configuration workflow ECA. So let's create a new model here. So, or a new process. I don't know exactly what the right terminology is here, but so we start with a start event. So our start event, and this is a pretty complex interface here, but basically we throw a start event on here, and then we need to pick a template for it. So the template is what is the thing that's triggering all this to occur. So this is going to be insert content entity. Okay, so that's when a new entity is created. This is going to be a content article. Okay, we're just going to trigger on articles. And so, okay, I think that's actually enough for this one. Now, when this occurs, we want to create a new email, a new easy email, and send it. So let's, in another tab, let's leave this open. And then another tab, we need to create an email template for this notification email. So we'll call this new article. And then since this is a notification, like, you know, it might be just hard coded to some administrator or some mailing list, administrator mailing list or something. And then it'll say new article. I'm just going to paste these in because it'll be a little faster. New article posted on site name. I'll use a token. And then let's paste this in. Now these, okay, new article has been posted on site name. And then we want to have a link to the article and we want to say who the author is. Now these two tokens are not real. I'm going to replace these in a moment. But I can't do it yet because I don't have the right sort of fields on this template. Before I can move on with this, I actually need to save this template. And now this brings up another feature of Easy Emails, which is that they are fieldable. So you can extend the capabilities of, or you know, the storage of a particular email template. So if you come over here to manage fields, if we think about this notification, it needs to be able to have tokens that reference a particular article that has just been created. So in order for that to work, in order for those tokens to be available, we need to create a field that can store an article that's just been created. And so that's a entity reference field. And so let's create a new entity reference field called field article. It'll be a reference. It'll be a reference to content. And we can limit it to article content. And now that we have the field, we have the ability to insert the tokens that we need that link to that entity reference field. So we could come down here and I'll show you quickly. If you browse tokens and you go under email, we now have article. And so we could dig in here and we could get the title and the absolute URL. Those are the two things we need here. So I'm not going to dig through that though, because honestly, it gets really hard once you get deep in there. It does work. It's just a hard interface to use and it'll be slow for me to do that on this webinar. So instead, I've already baked this off camera. And so these are the two tokens that I need for the title and for the absolute URL. And then I also have the one for the author Okay, again, this is the field article, entity, author, display name. So this will be the display name of the author of this article. All right, so let's save that. Okay, so now we have a template for the new article. So now we just need to go back and finish our work in ECA. So we have a process here anytime a new article is created. So now we need some things to happen. So the first thing we need to happen is we need to create a new entity. And the entity type is email. Oh, okay. Hold on. I think I got to refresh this page. Let's save this. Oh, probably can't save it because it's incomplete. Let's just reload the page. Oh, I lost everything. Okay. Hold on. Did I save? No, I guess I didn't. Okay. So we got to do this again. So on insert of an article, the problem was I created the template after I loaded this page, so it didn't exist there. Okay. So now I need to, it didn't exist at the time that I loaded the page. Okay, so I need to create a new entity, and the type is an email new article. The token here will be notification email. This is just a token that I make up in ECA that allows me then to use it other places. So let's see, the label can be like new article created, node title. This is the label for the email entity. And I think that's enough for this. Now we need a new item here. And the second task, and actually I think you can write in here. So this is like creating an email. And then the second thing is we need to set the article. So here, there is entity set field value. So then the field name was field article. This is the machine name of that. And the field value is node nid. There is a browse token thing here to get these. I'm not going to go through it right now, but that's where I got these from. And then the entity that we're setting it on is the notification email. That's the token we set when we created it here. So that is good. So we've created the email, we've set the article value. Now we need to send the email. And there is a special action for this. Make sure you choose the right one. Easy email, send easy email. And we have to say what it is. It is, again, with that same token. And then finally, this would be enough to send it. If we also want to save, then we need one more. If we want to save it to the log, then we would save email. And it's entity save. And again, it's that same token notification email. So let's save this. And let's test it. So right now, okay, we have no emails here. Let's go create a new article. Okay, we don't really need any body. All we really need is the title. So let's save it. And then let's come over and look at our emails. And notice, here we go. So we have new article posted on Easy Email Webinar. That's the name of the site. And it says new article has been posted. Here's a link. Here's the title of it, the author of it, a link to it. Perfect. It works. Okay. So you can see Easy Email. We did that in 5 minutes? We created this new workflow, a template. If anyone ever needs to edit this template, it's really easy. They can just go into structure email templates. And if you need more information, more information in here, they don't need a developer. You can just change the template right here if you want to have more information about this article. So there's a ton you could build with this. You could build a help desk system. It could send different emails to the author. Like maybe instead of an article, like imagine if this was support ticket. Then anytime somebody creates a support ticket, it could send one email templated, an easy email to the support staff, and one back to the person who created the ticket saying, hey, thanks for your ticket, etc. Uh, all of those templates would be editable in the interface, and you could theme them however you wanted. All right, so at this point, I think we can wrap up the demo portion of the webinar. That's easy email. I built this for DrupalTutor.com. You can see, I think that it's really powerful. I think it's a good way to handle emails. It's how I handle them on DrupalTutor.com. And I hope that, you can think of, now that you've gone through this demo, that you might be able to think of ways that you could use it on your own site. And you can evaluate, if it's right for your website. All right, so that is the demo. So I'm back live again. And so I hope that was a good overview. At this point, we can take any questions that you have. I think there were just a couple of questions posted, but if you have more questions now, write them in the chat, and I will be glad to answer them for the next few minutes. So the only question that I saw, let's see. Yeah, look at that. Okay, so somebody said, Matthew said, why would someone want to create plain text versions? And actually someone else answered this in the chat, but plain text versions, at one point it was important to do. I don't know if it's still really important to do that. Like people were reading their email on Pine, on like a Unix terminal or something. There's probably not that many people out there that are still doing that, but if you want to support them, you can. Now, one thing I will say is a lot of like we saw in the demo that like Symphony Mailer Lite created its own plain text version. And so and the way it does that, it has some library that does that conversion. You may be unhappy with the formatting that it chooses when it does that automatic conversion. And so that is one reason why if you decide you're going to have that plain text, you may want to customize it because you may be unhappy with the formatting that you get when it automatically converts, because it's pretty rudimentary. It has like square brackets, and then like the links are kind of like, it's not as nicely formatted as you might do if you went out of your way to make a plain text version. One thing I didn't show, by the way, in the video, but I realized actually when this question came up, you can hide actually any of those fields on the form. If you go into manage form display, you can drag any of those fields for any particular template. You can drag those fields down into the disabled area in order to hide them. So if you don't want to support plain text emails because you don't think it's important, or you just want to have the automated ones or whatever, you want to simplify the form, it's easy to do. You just have to go in when you create the template and then do manage form display and hide the ones that you don't want your email editors to have to look at. Okay, so it looks like a few other people have posted some questions, so let's go through these. Okay, would easy email be used for an email newsletter like Simple News? Yeah, so this is a question that came up on the podcast that we did about a month ago. So you would have to do some more work in order to make it work. I mean, easy email is kind of at a lower level. It doesn't, in order to have something like Simple News, you have to have something that keeps track of subscribers and something that collates like all of the things that are going to be sent out. I mean, I think Simple News just does some sort of, it uses a view or some other kind of something else to just send out like links to all the new stuff. But you would have to have some sort of way to track. So what had come up in the podcast is like, what if you wanted to build a MailChimp alternative or something? You would need something to track like campaigns and list. Easy Email doesn't really do that. But you could Easy Email could do the rest of it if you had something that would track those things and then send easy emails. Easy Emails would track could handle the history of all of the things that you were doing or that had been sent after that. But it doesn't have those higher level components that would be necessary to do something like a full Simple News replacement or something like MailChimp. Okay, next question. Can we use views to provide autocomplete lists for the recipient's form items? Can we override the widget for the recipient's form item? So you certainly can do a form alter. I don't, because it's a base field. Let's see if it's actually, you can do it in the managed form display, right? Even with a base field. If you have like a field widget, I think you can override it in managed form display. The views autocomplete list, I think, has to be done on managed field, which can't be done with a base field. So maybe that one would be problematic. You might have to use a form alter or something for that. Okay, next, group integration, sending emails to everyone in a group. There's no specific integration built there. But I agree that could be like, that would be something like a sub module, maybe like that would handle like, cause there's a lot of potential things there. When you talk about groups, like, because members can have different roles and things in groups. I do have a lot of group experience, so I could definitely see it being useful. But it doesn't exist currently. So if that's something you're interested in, that I definitely could see that being added. I mean, if you could get it down to a token, you might be able to use BCC or something like that, even in its current form. If you could get some token that was like all of the email addresses for the people, but I understand that may not be scalable if there's thousands in there. You may want to send individual emails. And so there might be a way, you probably could do it with ECA, because I think there's some way you can do like views and have things trigger recursively on views. I'm not an ECA expert though, so I'm not entirely sure. You might be able to do it with ECA even currently though. Okay. All right. So someone here, some spam filters require plain text version of emails to be available. So, okay, I didn't realize that, but that apparently is a reason why you might want to use plain text as well, because apparently that will help your spam score. Theoretically, I don't know if that's true, but that's what's been reported here. Okay. Next, where did I get my t-shirt? This is a Platform SH t-shirt from many DrupalCons ago. I don't even think they still use this slogan, the I deploy on Fridays, but yeah, this is a Platform SH free t-shirt from DrupalCon. Okay, our template suggestion pattern supported, so that we can create a set of overriding twig templates per email ID. Yes, per template ID, that is true. Yeah, so you could override any of those templates. The 3 templates I showed, you could override them per template ID. You can also, you would also be able to override the Symphony Mailer Lite one per template ID if you needed to, because under the hood, Easy Email is using the module and key kind of structure from Hook Mail, and that's what's used for templating and for the template suggestions for Symphony Mailer Lite. So yes, in both cases, yes. Okay, any suggestions for theming consistency across templates? Yeah, so I did mention that. You might go back and watch the recording. I did cover that. I see, David, you said you were off on a phone call for a moment, but I did show how to put in like consistent headers and footers or something if you want. Okay, Nick says to be able to use group ECA with this module will be a killer. Yeah, I agree. Okay. So David confirms what I suspected, that with ECA, you can use a view and then iterate through entities. So that might be a solution that currently exists for sending email to a group, though it would be nice if it were simpler. Like there may be some more proper group integration would be nice. And it is, I will say there's already some stuff built in. Like, for example, if you try to send something like a password reset email, it's the Easy Email actually already has the capability to say, oh, wait, this can't be one email. It actually needs to be multiple emails. It's currently only used for security purposes because it's possible you might try to send a password reset email to multiple people. and and send somebody else's password reset link to somebody, and it doesn't allow you to do that. Like if it sees that token in there, then it says, nope, I got to break this out into separate emails and everybody gets their own. So the concept of taking what is supposed to be one email and turning it into multiple already exists. So perhaps the group thing could be tied into that somehow. Like the API kind of already supports it. It isn't really designed to be extendable yet, but maybe it could be. Maybe it could be. And then the security thing is just one implementation of that, and group could be another one. All right. I think we've gotten through all the questions. So, all right, and we're right about out of time. So I hope you enjoyed the demo. I hope you'll get a chance to try out Easy Email. And if you find bugs or find new features, I'm very active in the issue queue. I definitely will review your patches if you want to bring any of those new features and add them. I will definitely be responsive to any new features you'd love to add. So yeah. So if there's no other questions, we'll wrap it up here. Thanks for watching. And yeah, hope you can give Easy Email a try.